My name is Maren Kinsley. I'm 26. And the thing people don't understand about building a life is that it's mostly invisible work, quiet work, the kind you only notice when it's gone. 3 years ago, I built my PC from scratch. Not the I bought a pre-built and swapped the lights version, the real version. Months of research, saving, reading benchmarks like bedtime stories, watching tear-down videos until my eyes blurred, picking every component like it was a decision that mattered, because to me, it did. When I finally got my hands on an RTX 3080, back when they were basically mythical, I felt like I'd won something. I paired it with a Ryzen 9 5900X, 32 gigs of Corsair Vengeance RAM, a custom water cooling loop I designed and installed myself, custom cables, clean routing, no shortcuts. It cost around $3,200 in parts. But the money was almost the least important part, because that machine wasn't just for gaming. I'm a software developer. I compile code. I run virtual machines. I test. I build. It's how I make my living. It's how I pay rent on time. It's how I stay safe in a world that feels like it's always waiting for you to slip. That PC was my stability, made tangible. And then my boyfriend destroyed it for a video. His name is Logan Mercer. He's 24. We'd been together 2 years, living together the last 6 months, splitting rent 50-50, at least on paper. He worked in social media marketing, the day job version. But his real obsession was his future. He wanted to go viral the way some people want to fall in love. Like if it happened, it would prove something. That he was special. That he mattered. That the world was supposed to be watching. He had about 2,000 followers across platforms. Not nothing, but not the empire he talked about like it was inevitable. Every week there was a new plan, a new series, a new angle. Babe, he'd say, eyes bright, phone already recording. One hit is all it takes. At first, I tried to be supportive. I told myself ambition was attractive, passion, drive. But somewhere along the way, it started to feel less like drive and more like hunger. And hunger makes people do stupid things. I came home from the gym on a Tuesday, sweat cooling on my skin, earbuds still in. I remember because I was thinking about nothing important, whether I should meal prep, whether my shoulders felt tighter than usual, whether I had a meeting tomorrow I wasn't ready for. I opened the door and walked toward my office. And then I stopped so hard my lungs forgot what they were doing. My PC tower was on its side, the side panel cracked off, components scattered like someone had reached inside and ripped out the organs. Water cooling liquid everywhere, bright blue fluid smeared across my desk, dripping off my keyboard onto the floor. My GPU was bent at an angle that made my stomach flip. The motherboard had visible damage. The RAM sticks were on the carpet like discarded teeth. The water cooling loop, the one I'd spent weeks perfecting, was ruined. Tubes cut, fittings snapped. Everything I'd built with careful hands, gone. And standing in the middle of it was Logan, holding his phone up, recording me. Surprise, he said, grinning, actually grinning, like this was a birthday cake and not the wreckage of my livelihood. For a second, I didn't say anything, not because I was calm, because my brain refused to accept what my eyes were seeing. He kept filming. Oh my God, your face, he laughed, eyes glittering. This is perfect. This is going to blow up. I stared at the destruction, then at him, then back at the destruction, like maybe if I looked long enough, the pieces would reassemble out of shame. You destroyed my computer, I said finally. He waved a hand like I'd accused him of leaving a dish in the sink. It's a prank, babe. Relax, he said, still recording. I'll help you clean it up. It'll be fine. I felt something in my chest tighten, not just anger, something colder, something like loss. This is $3,000, I said. My voice sounded strange to me, like it belonged to someone older, someone with fewer illusions. Oh, come on, he scoffed. It's just a computer. You're way too obsessed with it anyway. Maybe this is good for you. You can actually touch grass for once. I blinked. He said it like a catchphrase, like he'd rehearsed it, like he'd already imagined the comments laughing along. This is my work computer, I said, each word measured, deliberate. I use it to make money. He tilted his head, still smiling, still filming. You have a laptop, you'll be fine, he said. Come on, don't be boring. React. This is content. And that's when it hit me. Not the broken GPU, not the coolant on the floor. The fact that he wanted me to perform pain for strangers. He wanted my shock, my rage, my tears. He wanted a moment. And he didn't care what it cost me. I looked at him for a long time. I could see the little cracks in his grin, the impatience, the expectation, the way he was already editing the clip in his head. already picturing himself captioning it. Then I said, "You need to leave." His smile faltered, like someone had turned down the lights mid-scene. "What?" he said. "Go stay somewhere else for a few days," I said. "I need space." His eyes widened, offended. "Are you serious right now? It's a joke." "You destroyed my property for a video," I said. "I need you to leave before I say something I'll regret." "This is my apartment too," he snapped. "You can't just kick me out." "I'm not kicking you out," I said. "I'm asking you to give me space. Go to a friend's place. A few days." He lowered the phone, finally, and his face changed. "Oh my God," he said, voice hardening. "You are such a baby. It's a toy. Grow up." There it was. That word again. Toy. Like my work didn't matter. Like my time didn't matter. Like the thousands of decisions and hours and care I'd poured into something were childish because he couldn't relate. Something in my voice must have landed because he grabbed his bag and stormed out anyway, muttering under his breath. The door slammed so hard the walls shook, and then the apartment went quiet. Not peaceful quiet, the kind of quiet that comes after damage. I sat down next to my destroyed PC and just stared at it, blue coolant drying in ugly streaks, bent metal catching the light like a bruise. 3 years. Months of careful assembly, the satisfaction of building something with my own hands. Gone because Logan wanted TikTok views. I didn't cry right away. I didn't do anything dramatic. I just breathed, slow. Then I noticed something. The bedroom closet door was slightly open. And inside, on a glass shelf he'd insisted on installing, was Logan's collection. 8 luxury watches, each one displayed like a trophy. Rolex, Omega, Cartier, Tag Heuer. A couple others he'd bought used, but posed like they were fresh off a runway. He photographed them constantly. Close-ups of the metal catching sunlight, wrist shots with coffee, captions about the grind and the lifestyle. He treated them like sacred objects. Like they were the proof he was becoming the person he wanted the internet to believe he already was. My eyes moved from the watch case back to the wreckage in my office. And something settled in me. Not rage. A decision. I pulled out my phone and started researching. Rolex resale. Omega resale. Cartier authenticity checks. Consignment stores downtown that buy luxury goods, take a commission, pay immediately. I clicked through listings, compared prices, did the math. I wasn't shaking. That was the scariest part, because in that moment I realized something about myself. I could be hurt and still be practical. I could be betrayed and still think clearly. I opened my notes app and started listing values the way I'd once listed PC parts, one by one. And when I looked up again at the ruins of my computer, I didn't feel helpless. I felt focused. Logan had wanted content. He'd filmed the destruction, smiling, waiting for me to react like a character in his story. But this wasn't his story, and he had no idea what happens when a woman stops begging to be understood and starts balancing the ledger instead. I didn't sleep much that night. Not because I was crying into a pillow or spiraling into some dramatic montage, though I'm sure Logan would have loved that too. I didn't sleep because my brain kept doing what it always does when the world tilts. It started solving problems. At 1:12 a.m., I was on the floor with a flashlight, taking photos of every angle of the damage. Close-ups of the bent GPU, the cracked motherboard, the snapped fittings on the cooling loop. I documented the coolant stains on the carpet. I took a short video of the whole room, panning slowly like I was filming a crime scene. At 2:03 a.m., I was logging into my accounts and pulling the original receipts I still had saved in my email because when you spend $300 on something, you keep the paperwork. At 3:30 a.m., I was sitting at the kitchen counter with a mug of cold tea I'd forgotten to drink, staring at Logan's glass watch display. 8 watches, 8 little monuments to his ego, each one in its own padded box, lined up like they were too important to touch with bare hands. And I kept hearing his voice in my head, light and mocking. "It's just a toy. Grow up." Funny how quick that word becomes a weapon. Funny how easy it is for someone to dismiss what matters to you when it isn't what matters to them. I didn't want revenge. That's the truth. Revenge is emotional, messy, the kind of thing people do to feel powerful after they've been made small. This wasn't that. This was math. This was consequence. When the sun came up, I showered, dressed, and moved like I had a plan, because I did. I pulled Logan's watch boxes from the shelf one by one and set them gently on the bed. I didn't scratch anything. I didn't smash anything. I didn't do it with spite. I handled each piece carefully, the way I wished he'd handled my computer. Then I loaded everything into the trunk of my car. All 8. I checked my phone. No new messages from Logan overnight. That didn't surprise me. He always disappeared when there was real discomfort. He loved chaos, but only when he could control it. Before I drove, I did one more thing. I opened a new savings account at my bank. A clean account. One Logan couldn't access. I made sure my statements were digital only. No mail. No paper trail for him to intercept. Then I drove downtown to the consignment shop I'd bookmarked hours earlier, the kind that sells luxury handbags and watches behind glass, with security cameras in every corner and a man at the door who looks like he's seen every kind of drama. Inside, it smelled like leather and expensive cologne. A woman behind the counter greeted me with the kind of smile that has nothing to do with friendliness and everything to do with evaluation. "What can we help you with today?" she asked. "I'm looking to sell," I said. Her eyes flicked to the boxes. "Watches?" I nodded and set them down. She didn't gasp. She didn't squeal. She didn't react the way Logan's followers would. She just reached for gloves and an authentication kit like this was Tuesday, which I guess for her, it was. She examined each watch carefully. Serial numbers, engravings, condition, scratches so faint I couldn't see them. She checked the clasp, the movement, the weight, like she could tell the truth of a person by how expensive their accessories were. And in a way, she could, because Logan's watches told a story he didn't like to admit. He wasn't as wealthy as he posted. 2 of the watches were authentic, purchased retail, the kind you brag about. 3 were pre-owned, bought at a discount, still expensive, still status, but not the flex he made them out to be. And one was a problem. The woman's expression didn't change, but her eyes sharpened. "This one," she said slowly, holding up a Cartier with a gleaming face. "I'm going to need to run a deeper check." My stomach tightened. "Is it fake?" I asked. She didn't answer immediately. She took it into a back room. For 10 minutes, I sat there with my hands folded on my lap, staring at a shelf of designer wallets, and thinking about how often Logan told me, "You worry too much. Just enjoy life." 10 minutes later, she came back. "It's not authentic," she said flatly. My heartbeat didn't spike. It sank. Not because I felt guilty, because I realized something. Logan didn't just chase attention. He chased the illusion of being a person who deserved it. I swallowed. "Then we don't sell that one." She nodded like she respected that. "Everything else is authentic," she said. "We can make you an offer today. We take 30% commission. Payout is immediate." She started writing numbers on a pad. Rolex offered just under what I'd expected. Omega, decent. Tag Heuer, lower than Logan would have admitted online. The authentic Cartier, solid. The pre-owned pieces, fair. She slid the paper toward me. Total payout to 700. My breath left my body slowly. Not because it was a lot, though it was. Because it was more than enough. And because it felt like proof that Logan's world had always been built on inflated numbers and loud illusions. I signed the paperwork. I took the check. And I walked out without looking back. At the bank, I deposited the full amount into that new account. The teller asked if I wanted to add anyone else to the account. "No," I said. And the word tasted like freedom. From there, I drove straight to the computer store. The same one I'd once stood in for an hour, debating between 2 sets of RAM like it was a moral choice. This time I didn't hesitate. If Logan had taught me anything, it was that people don't respect what you protect quietly. They respect what you can replace without flinching. So I built something better. RTX 4080, Ryzen 9 7950X, 64GB RAM instead of 32, a 2TB Gen 4 NVMe SSD, a better case, a better water cooling system, one that didn't require me to baby it. Total, about $4,300. I paid without blinking. I added a Herman Miller chair I'd wanted for a year, but never justified. And a new monitor. Not because I was celebrating. Because if I was going to rebuild my life, I was going to do it without compromise. That afternoon, my friend Dylan came over. Dylan had helped me build my first PC. He was one of the few people who understood that building something with your hands is a kind of love. He walked into the office and froze when he saw the destroyed tower. "What the hell happened?" he asked. "I didn't dramatize it. I didn't perform." "Logan did it," I said, "for a prank." Dylan's face tightened. "That's insane." "It's handled," I said. He looked at me, then at the empty space where my old setup had been. "Do you need help rebuilding?" I nodded once. We spent the next day and a half assembling everything. There's a rhythm to rebuilding a PC. The careful click of components seating into place. The quiet satisfaction of cables routed cleanly. The moment the fans spin and you realize, it's alive again. Somewhere in the middle of it, I realized I wasn't just rebuilding my machine. I was rebuilding the part of me that had believed Logan was safe. By the end of the second night, my new PC was running perfectly. Quieter, faster, smoother. Better. And then, when everything was done, I gathered the consignment receipts, the ones listing each watch sold and exactly how much I got for it. I walked into the bedroom closet and opened the glass watch case. Empty slots stared back at me like missing teeth. I placed each receipt exactly where a watch box had sat. Neat. Precise. A row of paper ghosts. Then I shut the case. Logan started texting that evening. Logan, when can I come home? Logan, you're really dragging this out. Logan, I said I was sorry. Logan, stop being dramatic. I stared at his messages for a long time. Then I typed one word. Me, soon. And I meant it the way a judge means it. Because Logan wasn't coming home to comfort. He was coming home to evidence. He was coming home to a better PC running where his toy used to be. He was coming home to a closet full of receipts. And I could already hear it, his voice in my head, turning sharp and high when he realized his sacred collection had been treated the way he treated my work. I didn't know exactly how he'd react, but I knew this. The moment he screamed, he would finally understand what it felt like to watch something you loved disappear, while the person responsible stood there calm, unshaken, and done with your excuses. He was coming back tomorrow morning. And I was ready. Logan came back the next morning like nothing had really changed. That was the first thing that struck me. He didn't knock. He didn't text first. He used his key like he still belonged there, like the last 3 days had been a misunderstanding instead of a fracture. I was already at my desk when the door opened. The new PC hummed softly beside me, steady, confident. Code compiled on one screen, logs scrolled on the other. Everything ran smoother than it ever had before. I didn't turn around. Oh, so you're talking to me now? Logan said, dropping his overnight bag onto the couch with a thud. You really made me stay on Tyler's couch for 3 days over a stupid prank. I kept typing. Do you know how uncomfortable that was? He continued, voice rising. I barely slept. His place smells like protein powder and regret. Silence stretched. Wow, he scoffed. The silent treatment? What are you, 12? I saved my work, minimized my windows. Still didn't turn. I need to change, he said, already walking toward the bedroom. I've got a content planning call this afternoon, and I need my... The scream cut through the apartment like glass breaking. Not a curse, not a shout. A raw, startled sound. The kind your body makes before your brain catches up. Where are my watches? I closed my eyes for just a second. Then I turned my chair slowly. Logan stood frozen in the doorway of the closet, one hand gripping the edge of the glass case, the other clutching a handful of white paper. Receipts. His face had gone red in a way I'd never seen before. His mouth opened and closed like he was trying to pull air through a straw. You sold them? He whispered, voice pitching upward. You sold my watches? Yeah, I said evenly. All of them except one. His head snapped toward me. Except one? One wasn't authentic, I said. Didn't feel right selling that. His eyes went wide. He swallowed. You went through my things? You destroyed my computer, I said. We're past pretending personal boundaries mattered to you. He stumbled fully into the room, receipts fluttering to the floor. My Rolex, he said, like the word itself was bleeding. The Omega, the Cartier. You sold my limited edition Cartier. I got $900 for that one, I said. Not bad considering retail. That cost me $1,400, he snapped. Resale is always lower than retail, I said. That's how it works. His hands shook as he flipped through the receipts, panic building with each page. All of them? He asked. You sold all of them? Yes. You can't do that, he said, voice cracking. Those were mine. And I built that PC with my money, I said. Guess we're even. That's completely different, he barked. How? I asked. He opened his mouth, closed it, tried again. My watches were special, he said finally. I saved for those. They're limited edition. You can't just replace them. Something in me settled, heavy and calm. That PC was special to me too, I said. I spent months building it. Designed the cooling loop myself. Can't replace that either. I had to build something new. He looked like he might pass out. You can't just sell people's things, he said. That's theft. That's illegal. And you can't destroy people's property, I said. But you did. He pulled out his phone, fingers flying. I'm calling the police. Go ahead, I said. I'll show them the video you filmed of destroying my computer. He froze. The phone hovered midair. I could see it then. The math clicking into place. The realization that his content had become evidence. You wouldn't, he said weakly. You already did, I replied. Get them back, he snapped, desperation tipping into anger. Call the store. Buy them back. Can't, I said. They're sold. That's how selling works. Then give me the money. Used it. His head jerked up. You what? I used it to replace the computer you destroyed, I said. Since someone had to. You spent my money? He yelled. It wasn't your money, I said. It was money I got from selling items to replace something you destroyed. He laughed then, sharp, hysterical. This is insane, he said. I'm calling my mom. She's going to lose her mind when she hears what you did. Tell her the whole story, I said, especially the part where you filmed the destruction. He stormed out of the room, pacing, ranting, dialing. I stayed where I was, because I knew something he didn't yet. People who rely on noise always think louder means righter. It doesn't. An hour later, my phone buzzed. A text from someone saved as Ann M., his best friend. Ann, what did you do to Logan? He's sobbing. How could you sell his watches? He loved those. I stared at the screen, then typed. Me. He destroyed my $300 computer for a prank video. I sold his watches to replace it. The reply came almost immediately. Ann, it's just a computer. Those watches were his collection. I felt a familiar coldness spread through my chest. Me. I spent months building that PC. He destroyed it while laughing. Explain how it's different. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. No reply. Another text came in from a different number. Friend, you're being vindictive. This is emotional abuse. I replied the same way. Me. Destroying someone's property for internet content is abuse. Selling property to replace destroyed property is consequences. Some stopped responding. Others doubled down. Friend. But his watches were for his brand. That's his career. I didn't hesitate. Me. He has 2,000 followers and a day job. That's a hobby. My computer was for my actual job. One by one, the messages slowed. Then my phone rang. His mom. I let it go to voicemail. The message was long, furious, accusatory. How dare you steal from my son? Those watches were gifts from his grandfather. This is criminal theft. I'm getting a lawyer. I listened to it twice. Then I deleted it, because his grandfather is very much alive, and because Logan bought every single watch himself. Documented every purchase online with captions like, finally treated myself and hard work pays off. By noon, Logan was pacing again, red-faced, furious, unraveling. You're a monster, he said suddenly, stopping in front of my desk. How could you do this to me? I looked up at him. How could you destroy my computer for TikTok likes? I asked. That was a prank, he shouted. It was funny. Did you pay for the computer you destroyed? I asked. What? That's not... Did you pay for any part of it? I repeated. He hesitated. No, he admitted. And you destroyed something you didn't own, I said calmly. Something you couldn't afford to replace. Tears welled in his eyes then, real this time. I thought you loved me, he said, voice shaking. I did, I said. Then you filmed my devastation and laughed. I need those watches, he said, for my brand. I need a computer, I said, for my job. This isn't the same, he insisted. You keep saying that, I said, but you won't explain how. He couldn't, because there was no explanation that didn't expose the truth. That he valued attention over respect. That he valued appearance over reality. That he thought consequences were something that only happened to other people. He grabbed a duffel bag and started throwing clothes into it. You're going to pay for this, he said. I'll make you pay. You're welcome to leave, I said. The locks still work. He slammed the door on his way out. An hour later, my phone buzzed again. Logan, my mom wants to talk to you about what you did. I typed back without emotion. Me, not interested. Logan, you owe me for those watches. Do you know how much they cost? Me, I know exactly how much. Less than the computer you destroyed. Logan, that's not how this works. I stared at the message, then typed the truth. Me, that's exactly how this works. The typing bubble appeared, disappeared, and for the first time since this started, the apartment felt quiet in a way that didn't hurt. Because I knew the worst part for Logan wasn't losing his watches. It was losing control of the narrative. And he was about to learn how loud consequences can be, especially when there's nothing left to film. Logan didn't come back that afternoon. Instead, the noise came from everywhere else. Texts, calls, messages from people who had never asked me how I was, but suddenly felt qualified to tell me who I was. By 2 p.m., my phone looked like a tribunal. Unknown number. You're destroying him. He hasn't eaten all day. Another. This is abusive behavior. Another. You don't punish someone you love like this. I stopped replying, because I'd already learned something important. People who only show up to manage your reaction don't care about the original harm. At 4:17 p.m., my phone rang again. Logan's mom. This time I answered. How dare you, she said immediately, skipping hello like it was beneath her. How dare you steal from my son? I held the phone away from my ear for a moment, waited for the surge to pass, then put it back. I didn't steal anything, I said. I sold items to replace property he destroyed. That is theft, she snapped. Those watches were his. You had no right. He had no right to destroy my computer, I said. But he did. That was a prank, she said dismissively. He's a content creator. He has 2,000 followers, I said, and a day job. There was a pause, sharp, offended. You think this is funny? She demanded. My son is devastated. He can't sleep. He can't eat. He laughed while filming me, I said, while my work computer was in pieces. That's different. I closed my eyes. How? I asked. Silence. Then, you're a woman, she said, voice tightening. You should understand emotions better than this. You're being cold, vindictive. I felt something in my chest harden. Not anger, clarity. I didn't scream, I said. I didn't break anything. I didn't call the police. I replaced what was destroyed. You sold sentimental items, she snapped. He called my work a toy, I said. Told me to grow up. Her tone shifted then, calculating. You're going to return the money, she said, or we'll take legal action. My attorney already says this is conversion of property. Then your attorney should also explain criminal mischief, I said. Destruction of property. That won't hold, she said quickly. It was a joke. Jokes don't come with repair invoices, I replied. She hung up on me. An hour later, Logan texted. Logan, my mom says what you did is illegal. You owe me like $10,000. I stared at the number, then typed. Me. Your prank cost me $300 in parts, plus months of labor. Even at resale, your watches covered restitution. You still owe me time. Logan, that's not how law works. Me. Then bring the video. No response. That night, I locked the door, put my phone face down, and worked. There was something deeply grounding about code compiling cleanly, while my personal life burned around me. Something reassuring about logic that behaved the way it was supposed to. At 9:42 p.m., there was a knock at the door. Not aggressive. Confident. I opened it to find Logan standing there, jaw tight, shoulders squared, and beside him, his mother. She looked exactly like you'd expect. Perfect hair, athleisure that cost more than my grocery bill, the kind of posture that assumes doors open when she arrives. They stepped inside before I could invite them. Where is it? She demanded. Where's what? I asked. My son's property. I gestured toward the office. Your son's property destroyed my computer. That's why we're here. Logan cut in. Mom, she sold them. All of them. She got like $7,000. Her eyes widened, just slightly. $7,000? She repeated. You're giving that to him right now. No, I said. She turned to me sharply. Excuse me? I used it, I said, to replace the computer he destroyed. Her face flushed. You had no right. He had no right either, I said. Yet, here we are. That was a prank, she insisted. He's building a brand. He deleted his accounts, I said. Logan flinched. You didn't need to sell all of them, she said. Some of those were limited edition. My PC was custom built, I said. Some parts are no longer manufactured. A computer is a computer, she scoffed. You can buy another one anywhere. And watches are watches, I said. He can buy more. Logan exploded. You're doing this on purpose. You're being petty. I'm being proportional, I replied. She stepped closer. Do you have any idea what you've done to my son? Yes, I said calmly. The same thing he did to me. She pulled out her phone. I'm calling the police. Okay, I said. She blinked. What? Call them, I said, please. Logan's head snapped toward me. What are you doing? I'll show them the video, I said. The receipts, the photos, everything. His face drained of color. Mom, he said quietly. I filmed it. She turned slowly. You filmed destroying her computer? It was for content, he whispered. I didn't think... Her phone lowered. The room changed. Because suddenly, this wasn't about intimidation anymore. It was about risk. She didn't call. Instead, she straightened her jacket and grabbed Logan's arm. Come on, she said sharply. This person isn't worth your time. I want my watches, Logan said, voice small now. I know, she said. We'll figure it out. They left without another word. An hour later, a text came through. Logan, I'm taking you to court. I typed back slowly. Me, bring the video. He never replied. But the next escalation didn't come from him. It came from the law. The knock came the next morning at 9:06 a.m. Measured, official, the kind of knock that doesn't ask permission. I opened the door to find Logan standing there again, eyes rimmed red, jaw clenched, this time with a uniformed police officer beside him. The officer looked exactly how I felt, tired before the conversation even started. Ma'am, the officer said, nodding politely, I'm here for a civil standby. just to make sure everyone stays calm while personal property is collected. Logan jumped in immediately. She stole my watches and sold them without permission. The officer looked at me. I nodded once. I sold items that were in my apartment to replace my computer that he destroyed. The officer's eyebrows lifted. Destroyed? For a prank video, I said. He filmed it. Logan shifted. It was content. The officer turned to him. How expensive was the computer? About $3,200, I said. Custom built over several months. That got his attention. And the watches? The officer asked, glancing between us. I paid over $10,000 total, Logan said quickly. I received $7,200 at resale, I added, receipts included. The officer rubbed his face slowly, processing. So, he said carefully, let me get this straight. You, he nodded at Logan, destroyed her property. On video. For a prank. And you, to me, sold property located in your residence to replace what was destroyed. Yes, I said. The officer exhaled. Ma'am, he said to Logan, if you push this, you're opening yourself up to criminal charges, destruction of property, criminal mischief. Logan's mouth opened, closed. What she did, the officer continued, looks a lot like restitution. That's not, Logan started. I'm being honest, the officer cut in, not unkindly. My advice? Get your remaining belongings and move on. He checked his watch. You've got 20 minutes. Logan stood there like the floor had dropped out from under him. I stepped aside and let him pass. He packed quickly. Clothes, toiletries, a couple books. No theatrics this time. No speeches. Just frantic, embarrassed movements under the quiet supervision of a man who had seen worse and didn't care about influencer dreams. When it was over, the officer handed me his card. You've got documentation, he said. Keep it. If this escalates, reference today. I nodded. Thank you. As they left, Logan turned back once. I hope you're happy, he said. I thought about the months I'd spent building my first PC, about the way he'd laughed while filming the destruction, about the word toy. We both made choices, I said. This is how they turned out. He didn't reply. The messages slowed after that. One final text from him that night. Logan, I can't replace those watches. Some were limited edition. I answered once. Me. I couldn't replace my PC either. I had to rebuild. Same as you. Logan, it's not the same. I stared at the screen. He still couldn't explain how. That was the last message I ever sent him. He blocked me. His friends stopped reaching out. His social accounts disappeared, then reappeared under a different name. 0 followers, blank slate. He moved back in with his mom. I considered pressing charges. I could have. The evidence was clean. But I didn't need revenge. I already had closure. The new PC runs perfectly. Faster than before. Quieter. Stronger. The extra RAM makes everything smoother. The chair supports my back like it was designed for someone who plans to sit in her power for a long time. Sometimes I imagine what Logan would say if he could see it. Probably call me petty. But here's the thing about petty versus practical. Petty is about ego. Practical is about survival. He wanted viral content. I wanted respect. He filmed destruction and laughed. I made consequences and moved on. That's not cruelty. That's proportional. And if there's one lesson I carried out of this whole mess, it's this. Don't date people who think destroying your work is funny. Don't date people who call what sustains you a toy. And never confuse silence with weakness, because sometimes silence is just the sound of someone balancing the ledger.